Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Hogemeyer Farms. I'm Gage Hogemeyer. I'm currently the fourth generation here on our small family operation where we fair to finish hogs, cow, calf, grow corn, soybeans, wheat, and alfalfa. I'm also excited that we've got a son. My son Gates is 3 months old. That'll be the seventh generation to farm here in Nebraska. Thinking about the next generation, I can't help but be thankful for Deb Fischer and her support of Nebraska agriculture. She truly walks the walk. She has been somebody that's been involved in agriculture out at Valentine, Nebraska, where her family ranches. And she's also been one to meet with young individuals here in the state. Back almost 10 years ago, I met with Deb Fischer to talk about FFA and career technical education here in Nebraska. And I'm extremely grateful for her support of all the youth, as well as the youth that are involved in agriculture. Senator Fischer has seniority in the Senate, which goes a long ways. One of the things that she does with that seniority is she serves on the Committee of Agriculture, where she fights for Nebraskans and for people involved in agriculture all across the country. We're extremely grateful for all of the ways that she's fought for us, which Mark McHargue will speak to more bills and specifics a little bit later on, but we're extremely grateful for that. But in terms of being a young producer, one of the Farm Bill components that Deb Fischer worked hard upon was creating a way for young producers to get started. It's extremely difficult for anybody young in ag to come up with the finances to either purchase land, equipment, or livestock, where what she did was helped create a young beginner farmer and rancher loan through the Farm Service Agency, which has benefited many young people across the state. Senator Fischer has worked hard for Nebraskans, and she has earned my vote and the votes of many other young people in ag. I just can't thank Senator Fischer enough for what she's done for us.
Good morning. My name's Laura Field. I am the Executive Vice President of Nebraska Cattleman, and I'm very proud to be here today on behalf of the state's only grassroots organization that represents beef cattle producers solely. I'm speaking here today on behalf of thousands of cattle producers in the beef state to tell you that we're fed up with big government trying to reach their hands into our pockets and play dictator with our operations. Nebraska Cattleman very proudly supports Deb Fischer because she's one of us. She's one of ours. Candidates who have no interest in understanding the largest industry in our state's economy have no business representing us in the halls of Congress. Let's be clear on a few things. Senator Fischer knows what it's like to wrangle 3 kids alongside a herd of cows. Her opponent does not. Senator Fischer knows how to mend a fence after a cow's run through it. Her opponent does not. Senator Fischer knows what it's like to stay up all night caring for your animals after a blistering hot summer day or a freezing winter storm. Her opponent does not. In his own words, her opponent said he doesn't know anything about farming and ranching. From an out-of-control environmental protection agency trying to force regulations on cattle producers to foreign adversaries trying to buy ag land, we cannot afford to stand idly by and elect someone to represent the largest beef exporting state in the country for the United States Senate, someone who admits they don't know anything about our livelihood. Senator Fischer doesn't just know about our livelihood, she's lived it. In addition to walking in our shoes and understanding our livelihoods, she has decades of experience as a cattlewoman, and Senator Fischer is the exact same person in Washington, D.C. as she is in the middle of a pasture in the Nebraska Sandhills. She's unquestionably a champion of the beef industry. Some of the things that she's done that have benefited our industry, she's introduced the Real Meat Act, which protects consumers and beef producers. She's secured millions of dollars in funding for ag research in Nebraska, and she's fought back tirelessly against an out-of-control EPA. And those are just a few of the things she's done. Senator Fischer is a tested, trusted, rock-solid representative for us. She is the workhorse we need in the United States Senate, and we're proud to support her and send her back there. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Mark McHargue. I have the great privilege of representing Nebraska Farm Bureau as their president. And behind me, I have a group of producers from around the areas, neighbors of Greg and Patty and Gage here, that know what it's like to produce ag products and to be in the ranching and the farming industry. And I'm going to need a little audience participation here. So on cue, you'll probably know what to do. But just a little bit about myself. I'm a fourth generation farmer in Central City, Nebraska. I farm there with my wife, Judy, and I have 4 kids. We raise irrigated corn, popcorn, soybeans, both conventionally and organically. And we also run a contract hog feeding operation. You know, Nebraska Farm Bureau and the over 56,000 member families are proud to endorse Senator Fischer. As with any campaign you've seen and heard, too many ads that are trying to mischaracterize and mislead. And we want to set the facts straight this morning. You know, when Nebraska farmers and ranchers needed some help to push back on EPA's attempt to regulate on-farm fuel storage, which nearly every farm has, using the same regulations that's used for huge oil refineries, who was there to protect us from that? Deb Fischer. When Nebraska farmers and ranchers needed someone to stop OSHA from adding new onerous regulations on farmers and ag retailers who store anhydrous ammonia, who was there? When Nebraska farmer and ranch families asked for a farm bill that protected federal crop insurance, created a program to help support additional precision ag tools, provided needed updates to commodity conservation, trade promotion, livestock disease programs, Deb Fischer was there, and she continues to be there. You know, in the battle to ensure the EPA did not expand federal regulatory reach over waterways, ditches, and basically any area that has standing water after a heavy rain or even possibly a light rain like we had this morning, praise the Lord. Who was there? When farmer and ranch families pushed for year-round E15 approval, funding to expand broadband and infrastructure projects in rural Nebraska, cattle market reform, expansion of international markets, and federal tax code that lowered rates and protected their ability to pass their farm and ranch to the next generation without needing to sell all or parts of it to pay an outrageous federal tax bill, Deb Fischer was there and continues to lead that way. The list of issues our organization has worked with Senator Fischer is long, and this list does not really even begin to scratch the surface of what Senator Fischer has done for the ag community and Nebraska. You know, you've heard the quote before, I'm sure, but former President Dwight D. Eisenhower once said, "Farming looks mighty easy when your plow is a pencil and you're 1,000 miles away from the cornfield." This quote is one that easily comes to my mind as I think about the senator's opponents, who accuse her of only supporting and being supported by big ag. What is even big ag? In agriculture, we don't talk in those terms. We don't talk big ag, small ag. We're farmers and ranchers. We're just farmers and ranchers that every day are out producing the food and fiber and energy that both Nebraskans need and the world needs. It's very easy, quite frankly, to do a photo op and make campaign videos pretending to turn a wrench on a tractor, using a welding mask to grind something for some reason. However, what everyone who actually is involved in farming and ranching know, it's very difficult to actually do it. It's very difficult to get in a tractor or on a horse each and every day and go out and do your job. It's actually very difficult to trust the Almighty God to provide the rain for the water for the crops that will eventually feed our livestock, that will be eventually harvested to feed our growing nation and our growing planet. What I know is that Senator Deb Fischer knows how difficult farming and ranching is because she lives it. She is fighting for it. And we know that she will continue to keep the economic future of farm and ranch families around the state and around our nation at the forefront of her work in Washington, D.C. I'm here today We are all here today to support Deb Fischer because Senator Fischer has always been there for us, and we are here today for her. Senator Fischer.
Well, thank you to the Hogemeyers for hosting this today. Congratulations on your 7th generation here on your farm. I'm a 4th generation Nebraskan. Our grandchildren are 5th generation Sandhills ranchers. And I just have the honor of being able to represent Nebraska farmers and ranchers in the United States Senate. As we work on a farm bill, and I have voted in past 2 farm bills, and as we're working on my 3rd farm bill right now to get it done, who do I work with? I work with the people that are here today. I work with farmers and ranchers to be able to represent to this state of Nebraska and make sure Nebraska is taken care of. I think my opponent in many ways is ignorant of having any understanding of the economic engine of the state of Nebraska. And the economic engine of the state of Nebraska is agriculture. And to make comments that he doesn't really know what farmers or ranchers do, he's had some time to get out and try and learn that. I don't believe he has. What we're seeing, I think, is a move to kind of divide the state of Nebraska. When you have comments made in advertising about big ag, as Mark referred to, you know, that a border bill, I didn't vote for a border bill because I'm in the pocket of big ag. Give me a break. First, I'm offended by the big ag, and secondly, I didn't vote for the so-called border bill because it had nothing to do with border security. That border bill didn't put any money towards the wall. It did not end catch and release. It did not address President Biden's misuse of the parole system, and it did not address Remain in Mexico. That was no border security bill. I don't usually address issues with my opponents, but that's a case where maybe he should learn to read a bill and understand what a bill does if he wants to represent Nebraskans. I don't respond either to personal attacks, but I heard an ad this morning and could not believe it, My opponent has an ad up now where he's calling me a fake rancher. That's an insult, not just to me and my family. That is an insult to the people behind me. Not to even have a basic understanding of what a family farm is in this state. Everybody in a family works on a ranch. Everybody in a family works on the farm. You're out working cattle. You're out moving cattle. You're calving. You're fixing fence. And for the women behind me, I would say for the most part, besides doing all that, we've got to get back to the kitchen because we have to feed everybody, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, and good meals too. So you're fixing the meals, you're taking care of everybody, and you're out working cattle too. To make the comments that, you know, you get your hands dirty. Hey, I have cleaned out calving sheds. Don't talk to me about getting your hands dirty. So I want to set the record straight on that. I want to set the record straight about the importance of family farms and family ranches in the state of Nebraska. I want every Nebraskan to realize that there's dignity in all work. Dignity in all work. And there especially is dignity when you're working as a family and building a family structure and a family business. So it's disappointing always to see personal attacks. But an attack like this that goes after good people, he should really be ashamed of himself. Thank you. Appreciate friends being here today, being able to get our story out there and try and push back a little. Usually people in agriculture, we don't push back, I think, enough sometimes. So it's good to be able to push back and let people know that, again, we're proud of what we do as farmers and ranchers. We're proud of the work that we do for the state of Nebraska. And we are certainly proud of being able to feed the world and boost the economy of this state and continue to see Nebraska grow and be the good life for everyone. So I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Well, as we finish up our time here this morning, I want to thank Hogan Myers again for hosting. It's no small task to kind of clean out the shop a little bit and host a bunch of your neighbors. That's a little intimidating, but thank you to them for doing that. Now, we all know what we need to do. We need to make sure and get out, and I think we know what this group is going to do. They're going to vote for Senator Deb Fischer, but it's going to be really important that we in agriculture, we go out and talk to our friends and neighbors and dispel the myths that are floating around there and make sure that they understand how much value that Senator Fischer has brought to the ag community and to the economy of Nebraska as a whole. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
I'd take questions if you want questions. Or Laura, Mark, Hogan Myers, you can talk about everything you do every single day. Any questions?
Senator Fischer, one of the complaints from the Osborne campaign is that you haven't been able to pass the Farm Bill. Can you kind of speak about what you've been doing on the Farm Bill, specifically in this cycle, and where that is at in the Senate right now?
Yeah, again, I think it's just a lack of knowledge that my opponent has about government, but specifically agriculture. We work for years on a farm bill. It's a 5-year bill. We work for years, and I'm going we work for years on a farm bill. Obviously, we are in different places right now within the Senate Ag Committee. Democrats have put up their framework for the Farm Bill. Republicans, we've put up our framework for the Farm Bill. What we are focused on as Republicans are things that we hear from the people who live this life, and what we understand our state needs in order to continue to have that backbone of our economy be strong. Number one's crop insurance. We've got to have strong crop insurance. We have to have strengthening of the safety nets that our producers are able to access. We have to make sure that conservation programs remain voluntary. There's a move out there and some chatter to make them mandatory and tie them to producer payments. That is a non-starter for me. These are voluntary programs. They need to remain that. Nebraska is a private property state. 96% of our land is private property, and you are looking at the best conservationists and the best stewards of the land right here. We need to be able to look at disaster payments being streamlined. I have a bill on that that's going into the Farm Bill. We have to be able to look at precision agriculture and look at adding more flexibility to loans and to grants so that young farmers, smaller farmers can access that really cool technology that's going to make a big, big difference for their own operation that they have, but again, for the state as a whole. And we have to look at trade, we have to look at research. So I think it's a lack of understanding on the part of my opponent when he really doesn't know the programs, know the needs. knows what's necessary for our producers in Nebraska and for our state to be able to have a good, solid farm bill that meets all those needs and keeps Nebraska agriculture strong.
There was a big rally in Madison Square Garden. Among other things, they talked about mass deportation. Would you know, have anything in mind to keep ag processing, meat packing, other things like that? How could this affect that and the way that ag products are processed?
You know, I go back to the border issue. I've always said, and from the very beginning of my time running for the Senate, we have to secure a border, and then we discuss legal immigration and what we need there. My office works all the time with ag producers, with roofing companies, for example, where they have seasonal workers come up and work who then go back to their countries. That's been in peril, to be honest with you, during the Biden administration for whatever reason. But that's the sort of thing then we have to look at. But to begin with, we have to have a secure border. We have to not incentivize more people to come illegally into this country. It's a national security concern. So that's where we are in that, and obviously then the next step would be to address legal immigration and make sure that we can look at the type of worker that's needed here in the United States in whatever economic sector that may be.
And there was a lot of talk about tariffs and things. I know Governor Ricketts was really hard on trade deals with China and things. Are you concerned? And if there's a 10 or 20% tariff placed on their goods, how are we going to be able to export in the same way?
Yeah. Ag's usually a victim of whenever you have a trade war. It's the easiest thing that seems to be able to, for other countries to pick on. But let's not forget other countries have large tariffs on a number of our products right now. In Europe, they've had, I think, a 25% tariff on cars made in America since World War II. So I think that, you know, obviously I want to see a lot of trade happen. It's good for manufacturing, it's good for agriculture, it helps the economy, but we also want to make sure that we have fair trade as well. So with the talk on tariffs, that gets into pretty detailed negotiations that would need to take place. We haven't seen any trade with the Biden administration. There has been no activity on trade with the Biden administration. So I'm hoping President Trump, when he is elected, we can at least have those discussions and hopefully have a lot of input into his administration on what we want to see happen with trade.
I'm interested in infrastructure, primarily roads and bridges, to get our product to market and to get the necessary items we need to run our farming and ranching operation. What's your idea on better money for infrastructure?
I love infrastructure. I did not set that up. I love infrastructure. I feel bad. Should I address the camera or you?
Well, that's your choice.
I'm going to address you.
All right.
I love infrastructure because it's an investment that we make into the future. And it should be a responsibility of government. Federal government, first priority is national security. Second priority should be infrastructure. It is as I said, it's an investment. It's for those big projects that cities can't do on their own and counties or states even can't do on their own. We've got to have investments, not just in roads and bridges, but in broadband. You know, I voted for that infrastructure bill, and that brought $400 million in broadband to the state of Nebraska for broadband deployment. And that is supposed to be used, it's up to the legislature how that's going to all be divided, but that is supposed to be used in unserved areas, including my bill for last acre. So you can use all this cool technology, all this cool equipment, and be able to know, you know, the depth of your seed, the moisture in the ground. You guys know this much better than I do as I'm looking around here. But that's what's so cool about it. Waterways, clean drinking water. I mean, just on and on. Airports. You know, we're seeing Lincoln and Omaha with their airport updates. North Platte's doing that. So, yeah, that's big projects, and they're investments that last for 50 or 75 years.
When you were in Nebraska legislature, didn't you dedicate 1/4% of sales tax to roads?
You've been studying me.
I have followed you for 24 years.
Oh my
Senator.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
a county supervisor for 12 years.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
thank you very much for that 1/4%.
That was really important. So thank you. Thank you. I didn't set him up. So, yeah. Anything else? I d- oh.
Other Republicans in the state have talked a lot about China buying up farmland, and even though in the Osborne campaign ad you talked about being with Trump on China and being tough on China. Can you speak to whether, I guess, you see that, one, as a concern, and then two, what you would potentially be doing about that?
Yeah. First off, yeah, my opponent's trying to cozy up to President Trump now, where he says he's with him on the border, although he's not, because President Trump didn't like that border bill. And with him on China, with him on whatever. President Trump happened to call me yesterday, and I told him my opponent was doing this. President Trump was not happy hearing that. I would say, yes, we have concerns about China buying up land. I think that's best handled at the state level, and I visited with a number of state senators. I saw Senator Brandt yesterday. I was down at an event in Fairbury, and he talked about that at that point in time too. I'm on a bill, the Farm Act, in the Senate, that would have more transparency on transactions with foreign entities coming in to buy. But I would rather see that happen at the state level. As I said earlier, Nebraska is it's a private property state. I don't want Washington, D.C. deciding how we can buy or sell our private property, which is what that would amount to. I would rather it happened at the state level. And I'm also concerned about foreign entities around military installations that we have here in Nebraska, whether it's Offutt and Stratcom or our ICBMs out in the field in the Panhandle. Anything else? Well, thank you all. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate my friends showing up. Thank you.